measuring impact, this is going to be super relevant for you grant makers on this call today. I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds on this. We all know that when we launch these programs, we have to be able to report back to our team, was it successful or not? That's relevant for any use case. For your award programs, you have to be able to say, hey, did this help increase membership engagement scores? If it's for a scholarship, we can go back and say, do we physically change people's lives? If it's a grant program and you have a $500,000 grant that you just gave out, how do you know that those funds were actually utilized in the way that we intended that match your mission and vision? That's not rocket science. We all know that. So the challenge itself isn't reporting back, it's how do we collect the information from the applicants in a way that it allows us to report back. So at a very high level, we've talked about SMART goals in the past, like what are your specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-specific results. We have to be very, very clear about the objectives and the goals of the KPIs that we're going to be doing. But then again, the main thing I want to look at is how do we then equip your team as well as the applicants to collect the data to be able to justify those KPIs? Because we basically need to work backwards, right? So if you want to do an impact statement or a grant reporting template that shows the utilization of funds and did it meet or exceed the mission, what do we need to know to be able to do so? So I have written down here at a high level what a grant would look like. So for accountability, so the time period updates. So it could be once a quarter, it could be once a year, it could be once a month. What was the funded budget versus the actual utilized amount? What were your key successes and challenges? What were your actual goals versus the stated goals? Talk about the discrepancies between them, and then ultimately, like, what's the project plan moving forward? That way, the next deliverable that gets submitted, we can go back and kind of look at the comparison of did they make improvements or not. Again, the goal here is just to collect key data for you to generate reports off of. So, again, to visualize that in Reviewer, this is also just a really powerful feature in our platform because for you scholarship organizations, this is maybe where you have applicants who are doing renewable scholarships, where once a year they have to submit updates for you to unlock additional funds. It could be for a lot of different use cases. If you're a fellowship or even a call for speaker, maybe you go through an entire review process for your speakers, but then before they actually attend, you want them to submit like a follow up or a kind of their final draft. That's also how you would do this in Reviewer. So what ends up happening is you have a way for the applicants to come back into the system. So here I am, Michael Scott, I am a submitter, and you'll see that I have a section called supplemental forms. Teaser, this is also how you manage references, right? So again, we're trying to consolidate everything into one hub. But the goal here, and again, this is from a grant maker perspective, is I can have Michael click add new, and he's going to pick what is that he's submitting. Is it an impact report, a quarterly report, a social impact report, like whatever it is that you're trying to collect. Michael will then simply click the deliverable being requested from him at that given time. It pops up a form that Michael then fills out. So again, this kind of mimics the example I just gave, where you've got your stated goals versus your actual outcomes. You got your metrics. You've got your budgets. You've got your filables, all that kind of stuff. Again, bigger picture. If you're a scholarship organization, this could be a fund disbursement form. It could be a call for speaker finalization, right? A lot of use cases. But the goal is that we're basically telling our applicants to come back into the system, add an additional deliverable, make it easy for them to submit that deliverable. And then from an operation perspective, once it gets submitted, it shows up as a line item on their profile that when you click view, it will embed itself right here. So I never have to leave the platform collecting all the content in one centralized hub.